staying consistent with the program really helped me through that time.
I feel like now I'm really like dialed in into what I'm doing. So when I do it, it's just like as before, like you talked about earlier, like it's just coming in naturally.
That felt good. I mean, it gave me my confidence shot up. I think you should join in. You do a really good job of replying back to messages, and you're really fast to help out other people with like coaching and their swings. You're a pretty good coach.
Hitting improved, lifting improved, velocity went up, speed went up, everything in general went up. Before joining, I tracked my 60 time and I was running a 8.22, and then after a while, I did a showcase, and then I ran a 7.08.
What do you think leading calls for that? That's crazy jump.
Probably mobility and probably the exercises that you have in your academy that allow for growth in those little tiny muscles that people forget about.
I could tell I was hitting the ball a little bit harder, and then it got better and better and better, and then my speed picked up with the sprinting training and all that, and I was just getting a lot better. But before that, it was not super good. I've definitely picked up on my hitting velo. Before I joined the program, my velo was 72 off the bat, and at this showcase, I hit 80.
That's insane, dude.
No, so when I first saw your program, you were talking about how to get to college and how to get D1 and get recruited and all this, and that had me super interested because, I'm trying to go D1 and everything, try to get a scholarship and all this, and your program definitely talks about it and helps you walk through it and get you started. Honestly, I would say, like, the program definitely helped me a lot, helped me work through some things, get my visualization for games and all that, just get me prepared.
Obviously, like, my program's remote. Like, have you had any trouble by doing the work that I provide you?
Not at all. It's right in front of you. So it's super easy to get. Search it up, find it, and start working.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
Giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, dos joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a great
rounded up the middle. Mendoza throws out the shortstop. Mendoza field spins.
Mendoza throw to first in time. Wow, what a play by Evan Mendoza.
Short. Mendoza to second for one. Oh my word, you've got to be kidding.
Evan Mendoza.
For Mendoza lifts one to left.
An inning.
Mendoza, that one's sailing back there, and it's gone.
Now, those are some of the plays and the insights of playing baseball at the highest level, not just posting about it. Now, let's flip the script. Here's what my students and families have to say about working with me.
Just share his stories of the kids asking him, what did you do? And his one answer was one word. Evan.
It's an overall great program to improve your metrics, mental approach, your velocity, and your outreaching strategies. Because there's a ton of players I know that are way better than me that had zero offers because they don't know how to reach out to coaches.
Pretty much every possible number when I've gone up. I was high 70s and now I'm aiming for mid to high 80s and hitting the same thing. I was high 80s off machine and now I'm able to put some balls out in the mid 90s.
JT's motivation to want to do it at home, be proactive in his baseball career, and we are able to do these things for him, and it's self-motivated and he's taken that action. As a parent, you want to be able to say yes to something like that.
It's been making me feel much more confident. Like now going into the season, I feel I have all the ability I need and I can just play and trust that all the work I did will pay off.
Started working out, I was about 120, 115, about 160 now. I trusted it and it worked. If you want to go get it, it's not going to come to you.
My EV was about 75 and my body weight was around 155, around that. Since I joined that, I'm up to almost 180 now and I'm hitting 80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing or is this the right thing? So you could kind of see the stress level decrease a little bit, and then that energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing. Like a game changer.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. I could feel the improvement myself. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
You can give him guidance and he can always ask questions to you. I could see how he became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
It was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical. We dove into some of the content. We
we realized how good it was and the quality of it. The way that you kind of worked with him and you set expectations for him, and like, hey, these are the things I'm expecting from you, and that was a big part of why we enjoyed the program as well.
The program has made me like a little eagerness to go out and do something and not just like wait for the team practice and do things on my own.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. And sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You get the full structure. You get your lifting, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and the hands-on approach from you.
Infield velo was 68 or something like that. It was not good. My 60-yard dash was 7.7, which is not good. And I was not very mobile. I wasn't very strong. I mean, I'm a big kid, but a lot of it was just like from my size. My infield velo now is 80, and my 60-yard dash is 7.0.
It's insane. What was the root cause for all that?
I mean, it was just staying consistent with the program. I think just I had to really stay on, like focus on the path that I was trying to get. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to become elite. I was trying to get better. I know the stats at the time. I was like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. But going back and looking, that's not where I should be to play at the next level. Staying consistent with the program really helped me through that time.
I feel like now I'm really like dialed in into what I'm doing. So when I do it, it's just like this before, like you talked about earlier, like it's just coming in naturally.
That felt good. I mean, it gave me my confidence shot up. I think you should join in. You do a really good job of replying back to messages, and you're really fast to help out other people with like coaching and their swings. You're a pretty good coach.
Hitting improved, lifting improved, velocity went up, speed went up, everything in general went up. Before joining, I tracked my 60 time, and I was running a 8.22, and then after a while, I did a showcase, and then I ran a 7.08.
What do you think leading cause for that? That's a crazy jump.
Probably mobility and probably the exercises that you have in your academy that allow for growth in those little tiny muscles that people forget about.
I could tell I was hitting the ball a little bit harder, and then it got better and better and better, and then my speed picked up with the sprinting training and all that, and I was just getting a lot better. But before that, it was not super good. I've definitely picked up on my hitting velo. Before I joined the program, my velo was 72 off the bat, and at this showcase, I hit 80.
That's insane, dude.
No, so when I first saw your program, you were talking about how to get to college and how to get D1 and get recruited and all this, and that had me super interested because I'm trying to go D1 and everything, try to get a scholarship and all this, and your program definitely talks about it and helps you walk through it and get you started. Honestly, I would say like the program definitely helped me a lot. Helped me work through some things, get my visualization for games and all that, just get me prepared.
Obviously, like my program's remote. Like, have you had any trouble by doing the work that I provide you?
Not at all. It's right in front of you. So it's super easy to get. Search it up, find it, and start working.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
First giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, dos joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a great
Rounded up the
play.
middle is Mendoza, throws off the shortstop. Mendoza field spins, throws.
Mendoza, throw to first in time. Wow, what a play by Evan Mendoza. It's short. Mendoza to second for one. Oh my word, you've got to be kidding.
Evan Mendoza.
For Mendoza lifts one to left.
An inning.
Mendoza, that one's sailing back there, and it's gone.
Now, those are some of the plays and the insights of playing baseball at the highest level, not just posting about it. Now, let's flip the script. Here's what my students and families have to say about working with me.
Just share his stories of the kids asking him, what did you do? And his one answer was one word. Evan.
It's an overall great program to improve your metrics, mental approach, your velocity, and your outreaching strategies. Because there's a ton of players I know that are way better than me that had 0 offers because they don't know how to reach out to coaches.
Pretty much every possible number when I've gone up. I was high 70s and now I'm aiming for mid to high 80s and hitting the same thing. I was high 80s off machine and now I'm able to put some balls out in the mid 90s.
JT's motivation to want to do it at home, be proactive in his baseball career, and we are able to do these things for him, and it's self-motivated and he's taken that action. As a parent, you want to be able to say yes to something like that.
It's been making me feel much more confident. Like now going into the season, I feel I have all the ability I need and I can just play and trust that all the work I did will pay off.
I started working out, I was about 120, 115, about 160 now. I trusted it and it worked. If you want it, go get it. It's not going to come to you.
My EV was about 75 and my body weight was around 155, around that. Since I joined that, I'm up to almost 180 now, and I'm hitting 80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing or is this the right thing? So you could kind of see the stress level decrease a little bit, and then that energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing. Like a game changer.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. I could feel the improvement myself. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
Can give him guidance and he can always ask questions to you. I could see how he became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
It was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical. We dove into some of the content. We realized how good it was and the quality of it. The way that you kind of worked with him and you set expectations for him, like, hey, these are the things I'm expecting from you, and that was a big part of why we enjoyed the program as well.
The program has made me like a little eagerness to go out and do something and not just like wait for the team practice and do things on my own.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. And sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You get the full structure. You get your lifting, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and the hands-on approach from you.
Infield velo was 68 or something like that. It was not good. My 60-yard dash was 7.7, which is not good. And I was not very mobile. I wasn't very strong. I mean, I'm a big kid, but a lot of it was just like from my size. My infield velo now is 80, and my 60-yard dash is 70.
It's insane. What was the root cause for all that?
I mean, it was just staying consistent with the program. I think just I had to really stay on, like focus on the path that I was trying to get. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to become elite. I was trying to get better. I know the stats at the time. I was like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. But going back and looking, that's not where I should be to play at the next level. Staying consistent with the program really helped me through that time.
I feel like now I'm really like dialed in into.
All right, welcome in. Hope everyone's having a great day today. My name is Evan Mendoza, and today is another episode of Coffee and Baseball. If you're joining in over on YouTube, I changed up the thumbnail so it looks a little bit different, which is always exciting. But yeah, today is another episode. So one of the very first things that I always love to do as we get the show on the road is to change this guy up to day 20. We're in the 20s, fellas. We're in the 20s. And today's another episode of Coffee and Baseball. So 20 of 50, we're almost there as far as getting closer to our goal of 50 straight days showing up for you guys and to make sure, what's up Emerson, how we doing? Hope everyone's having a great day today. We're live over on Instagram, we're live over on Facebook, we are live over on YouTube as well. So thanks for joining in, guys. Another day of Coffee and Baseball. Feel free to ask your questions, whatever questions that you guys have, feel free to ask. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure my chat is good to go. How do I get looked at by NAIA school? So Kevin, same thing as far as how we would get in contact with these college baseball coaches at the Division I level. We would do the same thing as far as the process to get in contact with these NAIA schools. So typically it's as simple as just going through the staff directory and making sure that we have the coach's email, and then of course that outreach process is very, very important. So yeah, it's nothing necessarily different as far as NAIA compared to a D1 compared to a D2. Like, it's generally speaking the same process as far as the outreach, because you're over here, and ideally you need to get in front of these coaches right here, right? And the only way to really do that is there's really two ways. There's social media, and then there's direct email. I would prefer direct email because it's a little bit more professional. It's easier to keep track of. I don't know if anyone's used the process. Great, man. Our opening day is today. Let's go. We got to go to Louisiana. Doubleheader at 5. Let's go, dude. So yeah, as far as the whole process, as far as reaching out to these coaches, it's no different. So don't think that it's any different in that whole process of reaching out and making sure that you have the ability to get in front. Social media, like I was about to say, if you've ever used like the DM function on Instagram or Twitter, and trying to search up other conversations, it's very, very difficult. The only problem with Emerson, the field level side of things, it only is good if these college coaches use those apps. And typically speaking, like these coaches won't necessarily use these apps. They all 100% without a doubt use email though. And that's where we want to meet these coaches where they're ultimately at. And if they're using email, we want to meet them when they're using emails, right? So the process is pretty simple, guys. And that's, of course, how we reach out to these coaches and making sure that we have the ability to, reach out to these coaches in an effective and efficient manner. But if you guys have any baseball related questions, feel free to ask. That's why I am here. I want to make sure that I give you guys the best information possible. One thing I want to go ahead and do is, because it signed me out from my chat thing, so I want to make sure that I'm seeing your guys' chat. So just bear with me one moment. Why is it that I have seen some players who play on a good school that is ranked, but JV players were also getting recruited to NAIA? What do you mean by that? Are you meaning like the JV players were good? Or the JV players were getting looked at more than the varsity players? Is that what you mean, Kevin? Because if that's the case, like there's a thing called projectability, and college coaches will look at the projectability. Also, each university will have specific needs. So you always have to think about that as well. We can't just go with basically what's going on right now. So if you think about that, like, yes, these college coaches, they're going to want to find players that obviously fit their mold, because yes, you have to fit their mold. That's just the way the world works. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I meant that the JV players were getting recruited. Yeah, I mean the JV players technically, like, yes, they can have conversations with coaches. Hi, can you read my comment? Yes. But yeah, as far as the JV players getting recruited, so that's where, typically speaking, like, you need to understand also, I keep doing this every single day. I forget to switch the layers. But when we're talking about the whole recruiting process, guys, like, don't get fooled when freshmen and sophomores say that they're getting recruited, because ideally the most that they can really do is have a quick little conversation with maybe a specific coach, because freshman year and sophomore year, like, there's no offers, there's no visits. And anything that people say that they are doing those things, they're not. If anything, they're just having friendly conversations. Maybe they saw someone at a restaurant, and that's it. Now, once it happens to be August 1st of junior year, that's where things shift. That's when college coaches can reach out directly to the specific student athlete for baseball, and that's when things can be official as far as offering scholarship percentages and things like that. Should I be sending emails to college coaches if I'm a freshman? In my opinion, yes, there's nothing wrong with doing that. And the reason I say that, and this is actually an example that I was drawing earlier, and I really like this example of where you guys probably find yourself in the whole process of college baseball and college baseball recruiting when you're in this high school journey. So typically you'll find yourself in 9th grade. This is where, in my opinion, it is important to get things in motion, right? I think that's what the kids call it when you have motion, right? But ideally, 9th grade, this isn't a good idea to get that motion started. And the reason why is because once we move into 10th grade is what we're going to be doing in 10th grade. Believe it or not, you're going to be building a brick wall as tall as possible. That's what your job is, to be as big and strong and as projectable as possible. And you are this wall, right? And ideally, this wall is going to be built on this foundation that was built from the work that we did, the Durham Bulls legend. Yeah. Are you talking about me, or are you talking about someone else? We're loading up right now. Have a good day. Absolutely, Emerson. Good luck later today, dude. I did ball out in Durham, so I don't know if you meant that. But yeah, but by getting that motion started in 9th grade, who asked this? Kipton Schwartz. Getting that motion started, we're building that foundation for our 10th grade season, so that way we can grow. Oh yeah, I know, I went crazy. But yeah, that's where we can get that foundation started to grow into the best version of ourselves. Now, typically this is where August 1st happens, but I'm going to hit up that here in a second. Now, 11th grade, in my opinion, this is where I think we've all kind of seen it before, but I'm going to try explaining it to you. So this is where you have an ice box, right? And ideally inside this ice box, there's a sculpture, let's just say of a person, right? That's a person's head, you know, and inside there's like that foundation. And what our job is, our 11th grade year, we should already know who we are and what that motion looked like our freshman year, building out routines and habits. 10th grade, we built up that recognition by putting in the work and refining our structure. But what we're really doing our 11th grade season is because we want to ensure that we're in the best possible situation to be able to get recruited in the summertime. This is where, again, we are this ice box, but we're really going to be refining and chipping away to make sure that that is a very nice and consolidated sculpture. And that's what your son is, with this foundation that not only did he build in his 10th grade year, but also it's dating back as early as his freshman year. Now in 12th grade, ideally, this is where you guys might see something like this, which is called the panic button. And if you're uncommitted, you might feeling like there's, time is running out. There has been seniors that have come to me with 0 offers in March of their senior year, and they've been able to land a couple of offers. For example, Jacob Rayners out of Washington State in last year, he had 0 offers in March. In May, he had a few, and then he later committed to one of those schools that offered him. So ideally, 12th grade is when the panic will start to set in. If, for example, you get looked over. Mandy, my son is 6'5". He got passed up twice. High school baseball, this was told his doesn't use his lower half. What can we do to get better? So very, very bland question. And that's why I like to do these lives, Mandy, so that way we can have a little bit of a back and forth. So Mandy's situation as far as her son being 6'5", that's awesome. But how is he using that 6'5"? Because one thing that I'll never forget, I had a high school teammate that was probably 6'4", and what we referred to him always as a complete waste of a human body. And that's just maybe a little bit dark, but no, but seriously, he was a 6'4" pitcher, but he moved like he was in 4th grade. And we were just how do you waste this body? You should be a great pitcher. And it's just really unfortunate when you see players that have great athleticism, great bodies, things like that, but all of a sudden they're not translating that. So Mandy, I'm hoping that your son might be a pitcher, but what do you mean by he's not using his lower half? Getting passed up twice, I don't know what that means also, if that means he's not making the team or he just doesn't get the playing time. Also tell me what positions he plays, so that way we can have a little bit more of a back and forth. Should I do indie ball if I don't get recruited for college? That's what I'm thinking about doing. Indie ball is an absolute grind, and if you don't have professional baseball in your back pocket in indie ball, it's going to be very hard to get into professional baseball because that is part of it. So cool, he's a hitter, but where does he play? What position does he play? Does he play first base, third base, outfield, second base? If he's a second base at 6'5", holy cow. Is he a catcher? What is he, Mandy? Because that's going to help me not give you a vanilla answer, and I don't like giving vanilla answers on this live, especially if you guys are awesome like you are today, answering or asking questions. That is part of what I do as far as these baseball and coffees and baseball, and make sure that you guys do check them out over on YouTube, just like Kevin is. Kevin, I appreciate your attendance and also your activity in the chat, because this is only as good as you guys make it, and I can't force you guys to ask questions. I love baseball, so I'm ready for that indie ball grind. It's a grind though. Don't be expecting literally thousands of dollars, because your paycheck will be possibly less than $1,000 for a whole month of work. And technically, yes, baseball, it's fun, but there's going to be a point in time where $1,000 just isn't cutting even getting Chipotle every single day, right? For lunch, because they might not necessarily even give you lunch or a pregame spread. So these are all things to take into consideration before going into indie ball. But yeah, it's just one thing to keep in mind. But Mandy, if I've lost you, I lost you, not a big deal. But I'm gonna go ahead and hit up some other questions that we have in the chat, and then I'll come back to you. All right, so let's see what we got going on. All right, I'm cycling between Facebook, Instagram, YouTube because we have a couple of different ways that we're streaming. All right, let's see. We don't know when to seriously consider D3 as an option. So in my opinion, and this is what, and if you guys are a return viewer, you already know what I'm about to say about this. If we shoot for the stars way up here, which is the MLB or D1, that's great. That's where I want all of my students to be shooting for the stars, right? Because if we land on these clouds down here, that might be D2, D3, even NAIA, or JUCO, right? As far as like considering D3 as an option, I never want you guys North Star to be D3 because then our fallback, there's not going to be a lot to fall back on. And fallback could be high school baseball, right? I don't want that for you. I don't want that for your son. I don't want his dreams just to be able to play high school baseball and that's it. That's no fun for you. That's no fun for me. So as far as considering D3, yes, it's an opportunity to get on a field, but there are restrictions as far as scholarships. There's going to be a little bit less of a structural approach as far as winning baseball games. He did try out and he's a hitter and plays first base. Okay, first base. That makes sense because he's very tall. First base, plays first base, but was told he doesn't use his lower half. He is slow. I'm curious what your representation of slow is because it's very obvious on what his 60 time is. That's going to be the thing that tells me how slow. I got to admit, you absolutely right. The bigger they are, the slower they are. Not always the case. I mean, Otani's like 6'4" and he hits triples on the regular. So I'm curious what that 60 time is because typically a good 60 time is going to be less than 7.0 seconds as far as where you would want to be. By all means, I was slow. Not my freshman year, I ran a 9.5 second 60 and I got that down to a 7.4 and I was ecstatic about that. But the case may be different for your son. He does worry when he goes into 11th grade, and he does worry when he goes in. So he's a current 10th grader, I would assume. I need some advice on how to get him better and improve him. He is a great hitter, but he doesn't show it. So subjective, right? Like how good of a hitter is he? Actually, if he isn't able to translate that BP into game, right? So that's what you're kind of telling me. He's a good hitter, but he doesn't show it in the game when it really matters, right? I think we can all agree performance is really the only thing that actually moves the needle for your son, especially in the college recruiting process, etc. And if we don't do it in the game, college coaches don't care how good of a 5 o'clock hitter you are. Because for those that don't know, a 5 o'clock hitter is someone that hits really good batting practice, but doesn't show it in the game. That can hit home runs in batting practice, puts on a show, light tower power, but doesn't do it in the game. Kevin over on Instagram, I may do indie ball, hopefully get picked up down the road, East Bird Dogs in Kingston, North Carolina. My parents would be close. That'd be awesome, dude. That'd be a really cool opportunity for you, especially with your family being close by. That'd be cool if you got that playing time and then also just chasing your dreams towards affiliated ball because you'll soon realize, indie ball is cool for a couple of years, but ideally I don't want you to be an indie ball absolute grinder. I want you to get that taste of what affiliated ball feels like. Sometimes, I think I've actually heard some, I think like the Milkmen, I think they're outside of, the Chicago Dogs. There's a team called the Milkmen, I think maybe in Kansas City. I really don't know. Those are some actually like pretty good quality organizations, but the one thing is like some affiliated teams are lower quality than these indie ball teams. Of course, those are things that hopefully one day you'll be able to figure out. But yeah, Mandy, if you know what your son's 60 time is, that's going to be able to give us like an actual number based off of how fast he is as far as a runner. Because, and that's something that is really important to understand, guys, for anyone really listening, right? If you tell me, hey, my son throws fast, right? Fast into quotations, right? Fast. In my opinion, I don't know what that means. I don't know, and this is really an important aspect because, like, let's say that you're at a summer ball tournament at the East Cobb, complex in Marietta, Georgia, and you sit right next to the Alabama coach, right? And you say, "Hey, Alabama coach, my name's Evan. I just played. I'm pretty sure I saw you watching. I play for this team. Maybe you're in your jersey. Maybe he comes up to you. Hey, you play for this team? Yeah, cool, awesome. What's your 60 time?" Right? Like that might be one of the very first questions, right? What's your graduation year? But what's your 60 time, right? you gotta know these things, guys. So like, they're not asking you like, hey, are you a fast runner? Because fast is subjective depending on who you ask. If you ask Usain Bolt, that's going to be a different answer than if you ask, Pablo Sandoval, if you know who Pablo Sandoval is. But either way, the subjection of what is fast really. So that's where, again, if we have a 6.260, that is fast, right? In my mind. If you also run like a 6.7, kids will love that one. I still think that that's fast, right? Because of how fast I am. My fastest ever 60 was a 6.97. I barely got under 7 seconds, and that was when I was 26 years old in professional baseball. Like, it took me some time to get decently fast, but the thing that I realized, because I went down from a 9.5 technically down to a 6.97, and I was actually playing center field for the Cardinals organization in AAA, that was the aha moment where I was like, oh snap. I was chipping away at my physicality this whole time, the past 10 years, and all of a sudden I became fast. Like, what in the world? What happened, right? So in my mind, I think like a 6.2, a 6.5, a 6.8 even is fast. But it's how you use it. Your first step quickness, these are all things that matter and help you translate that over to the game. So like, again, going back to your situation, Manny, with your son, really, really tall. He's a good hitter, but has problems showing in the game. So it's like, okay, well, what's his exit velocity? That's going to give exit velocity, EV. That's going to be how hard he hits the ball off of the tee. And typically with a wood bat, off tee, right? And ideally, if he's a sophomore, I would want him to be like 95 plus, especially if he's 6'5". Like, he has a lot of leverage, right? I had a freshman that was at 97 plus as a freshman. So like, these things are possible. It's crazy that I had an 8 second 60, but I can dig out ground balls for singles. Yeah, so 60-yard dashes are funny because you never really run. For those that also don't understand what a 60-yard dash is, I remember being those in that mindset when I heard 60 for the first time. I was like, what in the world does that even mean? William, hope all is well. Thanks for joining in again. Guys, the 60-yard dash is how far or how quickly you go from yard 0 to yard 60. It's that simple. Don't overcomplicate it. It's how fast you run, right? It's a gauge on athleticism. That's what these scouts love to say. But the thing is, like, on a baseball diamond, it's very, very rare, even for center fielders, to run 60 yards in a straight line. It almost never happens. The most common is if you technically go from, home to second for a double, right? A hustle double. That's technically 30 yards and 30 yards. But it's like, there's the turn, right? There's cutting angles. These are things that are going to be way more important than just linear athleticism, linear quickness. And that's one thing that I actually realized when I was in college, actually, because I used to love 5-10-5s, and that's actually what I instruct all my students to do inside the 14-day challenge. So 5-10-5s, in a nutshell, guys, you start on yard 0, or we're going to start on yard 5. That's yard 0. And that's yard 10, because we only need 10 yards of space. You start right here, you go this direction, you touch the line, you go back over here, you touch the line, and then you finish right here. So quite literally 5 yards, 10 yards, 5 yards. And this is more of a test on how well you're having your lateral quickness, not necessarily your linear. I'm an engineer, guys. I studied aerospace engineering. So like lateral, linear, maybe it's confusing. Lateral, think about a shortstop getting a ball in the hole. That requires lateral quickness, also first step quickness. Linear quickness, think about a running back that runs 80 yards in a straight line. He doesn't have to juke anyone. He just blazes as fast as possible. That's more linear. So that's why I'm kind of like against 60-yard dash to prove overall athleticism when it comes to baseball athleticism, because in baseball, just the sport doesn't really ever require us to run 60 yards in a straight line. So I don't know if that's something that you guys have ever thought about, but yeah, I just would rather, not necessarily the 30, but like home to first, I think is something that can be important. There's ways to kind of cheat the system though. If you're really just more focused on digging it out and beating a ground ball, and I was the fastest dude on the team. God, that's crazy. But like, if we think about just like running in a straight line, even just through first base, like you can get like a low 4 down the line, and that's pretty quick, especially at the professional level. Trey Turner is going to be probably one of the quickest in the league. I think he might be at like a 3.9. But it really just depends, right? Because like you can be someone that digs it out, and you're more of like a slap hitter in softball, where you're kind of already starting to dig it before you actually even finish your swing. These are ways that, like, technically if you have speed, you want to use that and use it for your advantage, because why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you want to do that? By the way, if you are joining in here for the very first time, I want to say hello to you, but I don't know who to say hello to. So make sure to drop like an emoji, whether if you are on the first time listener over on YouTube, if you're on Instagram and you're a first time listener to Coffee and Baseball, guys, go ahead and just put any emoji. Put the baseball emoji. If you can't choose which emoji, I'll make your life easy. Just choose the baseball emoji, and then that tells me you're a first time listener. I just want to personally say thank you, and definitely come back every single day. Guys, we do this every single day. We're on day 20 of 50. Streaming every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Only day I don't technically do it is Sundays, but this past Sunday got snowed in, so I said, why not? We watched YouTube videos together, and that can be something that's enjoyable for you guys if you guys, most importantly, let me know. Yeah, Jank, we're kind of in the same space as far as doing online training. Jenkins actually introduced me to the very first mentor that I had in like the business sphere, Kevin. So that was pretty cool. And then we got to meet up at a WWBA in Jupiter. But we got Just Mad Jax. So I don't know if I should refer to you as Jax, but let me know. One thing that, by the way, Just Mad Jax, every once in a while what I'll do is I've done profile reviews. Not saying that I'm going to do one right now, but sometimes I like to do profile reviews of players' profiles, because I think it's always really interesting to see like what you guys are posting, and if you guys are presenting yourself in a professional manner for these college coaches, because that is something that they take into consideration when it comes down to, you know, college commitments and stuff like that. So always keep that in mind. But yeah, Jax, if Jax is cool with you, Jax is cool with me. I don't know if that's actually your name, but welcome in for the very first time, guys. If you are a first-time listener to Coffee and Baseball, if you're joining me for the very first time, let me know with just a simple baseball emoji, and I want to congratulate you for joining in and welcoming you into our family, guys. Usually we have a good amount of listeners over on YouTube that are pretty consistent, by the way, which is pretty cool. If you guys do like this type of content, just let me know. Also, if there's certain areas or questions that you guys want me to answer, let me know. Crowned, absolutely, absolutely. I'm Mama Lee. Jackson is my son, 9th grade. Okay, so 9th grade is right in the mix of who we help. One thing that I'm gonna go ahead and actually go ahead. So one thing I created earlier, let me actually just pull this up for you guys, because I think you guys might like it. Just because every once in a while, people will come on these lives, have no idea who I am. And sometimes I like to like present a little bit of a slide deck to you guys. So that's what I'm gonna do right now, just because I created one just this morning for a video that I published on my website. But let's get into it, because I want to make sure that you guys have some questions and allow you guys to have those questions with everything that we've got going on. So let me actually just change up my screen. If you're on Instagram, you're seeing something different than what you should be. Let me check this. Display window. There we go. No. What's going on? What's going on? There we go. Finally figured it out. All right. There we go. Can everyone see everything okay in this video? Can you guys see that? Everyone good to go? Everyone good to go? All right. So in this quick video, I just want to talk to you guys about a little bit of a breakdown on my program. I typically like to do this at least like once or twice throughout these lives, just so if you guys are joining in for the very first time, you can get a little bit of understanding on how we work before we hop on an eligibility review, which ideally is the next step in this whole process. And there's really three pillars to player development inside my program for high school baseball players. So the physical, which is the most important, the mental, and the recruiting guidance. As far as the physical development, what you get are personal workout programs, baseball-specific training, sprinting and speed programs, mobility modules, and they're all written by a New York Mets strength coach, so they are vetted. And there's really no guessing when your son goes into the gym. He has that proven path on what to do. They're clear, safe, and they are baseball specific. Before we go any further, and if you guys are a first-time listener, just like Mama Lee for Jackson, my name is Evan Mendoza, and that is just my fiance. And I'm quite literally that baseball guy who talks mentality development and even recruiting. And I also founded my own online baseball academy called the Mendoza Baseball Academy. Make sure to follow us or subscribe to us over on YouTube. But most importantly, you've probably already asked, like, why in the world would I listen to you? Well, my name is Evan Mendoza. I played 7 years of professional baseball, and that's under my belt. And I played 6 years with the St. Louis Cardinals, and that's me with basically my idol, Albert Pujols, and then 1 year with the San Diego Padres. And I played 3 years at the D1 level in the ACC at NC State University, and that's me hitting a walk-off against Duke on a Friday night. Also studied aerospace engineering, and I was on varsity all 4 years of my high school baseball career, and I'm here to share all that knowledge with you. So as far as all the mental development side of things, this is where 98% of all high school baseball players are completely neglecting. Your son needs education for the game of baseball. So that's where in the pro defense, really the IQ, the baseball IQ course, that's going to be like a college course on baseball, defensive strategies, and really everything your son needs to know before going on a college campus. He's also going to go through the velo throwing program and arm care course to make sure that we're doing the right things to build that healthy velocity and doing those preventative exercises. And then also the mindset building as far as using mental frameworks to overcome certain struggles that will happen in the game of baseball. The reason that we need to do a Zoom call, by the way, guys, you really have two options as far as my program. So I have the full ride framework, and that is 100% done for you. That is really invite only based off of criteria, based off of what we hear on that eligibility review. The other option is the triple play, so that's going to be done with you, and we're really going to guide you through this whole process. Depending on what grade you are, what your metrics are, things like that, that's going to dictate which route you take. And again, that's the important aspect of why we need to even have an eligibility Zoom call. And most parents will experience what I kind of went through earlier, how 9th grade, it's really about getting in motion. 10th grade, it's about building a wall as far as a foundation. 11th grade is about kind of like that ice sculpture that we're chipping away. And then 12th grade could possibly be that panic. But as far as how we work, we run eligibility reviews on a pretty tight schedule. We do require like a card on file, guys. I've seen some people that charge like $50 just for an evaluation. In my opinion, that's not how it should be. Of course, I want to make sure that we're speaking to serious families though, so we do require a card on file, but it is a $0 call. It's just to ensure that, you know, we're speaking to serious families. So yeah, if you guys are interested, you can always book a call on my website. And then that way you guys get to that understanding. Also, you can hit up my DMs at any time, guys. That's one thing that I always want to make sure that I'm very, very transparent about. You can always DM me and we'll be able to answer your guys' questions as far as what's going on in your current situation and how we could possibly help, if we can even possibly help you guys out. Now let's get back to some questions. We paid for a recruiting platform, but we didn't know if coaches even check it. So that, unfortunately, I've heard before. So with the whole recruiting databases, guys, I've heard this story more than once, unfortunately. So I've heard that, well, first off, I've heard that these recruiting databases are exactly that, right? They are quite literally like, and we've all seen it before, like a spreadsheet basically. And it's just like all this data just like thrown at you all at the same time, and it can get very, very confusing to say the least, right? And they just say like, hey, here's like, I don't know how much NCSA and these like field level things cost, but like a few $1,000s, and here you go, here's all the access to all this database that we've collected. Good luck, basically. And this is the unfortunate part, because I hear a lot of families go through this process where like you guys will invest into a paid profile, because that's what it technically is, guys. These NCSAs, these field levels, there's other ones out there that you can pay into for the premium package or whatever, and all you get is a database, and then you say good luck, right? What you guys are really looking for, in my opinion, especially because NCSA was around when I was your age or in high school as well, what you're really looking for is that guidance on what to do, when to do it. And as far as that guidance, it's not just like, hey, here's bland guidance as far as just like, hey, you should do this and you should do that. good luck, because that's not good. What I like to refer to inside my academy is actionable guidance, right? So basically what I mean by that, I equate that to step 1, step 2, step 3. And I simplify it for all my students. And that's where that guidance is compressed into being able to actually do the work that we need to do. And that's the same thing for our onboarding process. I don't throw everything onto my players' plate because that's going to overwhelm them. That's going to make them feel like they don't know where to start. Where ideally what we even do is we don't even give them 3. We only start with 2 objectives. I can't speak right now. Objectives. English is tough, guys. But no, like seriously, like what we want to do is just really focus on sprinting and then email. Those are the 2 things. We don't worry about the workout programs. We don't worry about the course material yet. We just focus on these 2 because this is going to help us develop a good routine. And then this is going to help us actually get over that hurdle on the frustration and the misunderstanding on how to go about the whole college recruiting process. So hopefully that gives you some clarity on like how I work and how my program works. And if you guys do have any specific questions, feel free to ask. That is part of why I like to do these. My son's a catcher, but he doesn't get many throwouts because pitchers are slow to the plate. How can coaches judge that? So typically speaking, just a simple pop time. What is his pop time? Because that takes away from the pitchers. And technically speaking, like even if pitchers are slow, we can still get runners out in high school. That's my opinion. There are going to be some pitchers that hold runners a little bit better than others. Some pitchers will definitely slide step in high school, but really it comes down to what's your son's pop time? Because if your son's pop time is a 1.8, like he'll throw out runners. It's not the pitcher's fault. If your son's pop time, on the other hand, is a 2.4, yeah, different story. Yeah, these coaches are going to evaluate him. They're going to see that 2.4 pop time. It's not going to cut it as far as a specific college program. And, it's just going to be difficult from there. But yeah, guys, if you have any baseball-related questions, feel free to ask. That's why I'm here. I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the best guidance possible. No more vanilla answers. No more brain rotting. That's one thing that, like, guys, I want to be real with you guys. I'm going to try my best. 2026 New Year's resolution starting February 5th. Brain rotted videos on Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. I'm trying to stay away from all that as much as I possibly can. Mostly because like when we're talking about these brain rotted videos that are just like 2 or 3 seconds long, one thing that I refuse to do is try to condense my 7-year pro baseball experience between the Cardinals and Padres plus 3 years of the D1 level. So total of 10 years. The thing that I will not do is trying to cram 10 years into a quick little like 3-second video, which is that big. Like I'm not wanting to ever do that. I don't think that makes sense. I don't think that's even like possible. So I'm really trying to stay away from these short form videos that just brain rot, that get you excited as far as getting some curiosity about the recruiting process, but again, doesn't ever give you that actionable advice. And that's the exact reason that I'm doing these lives, is because number one, I want to hang out with you guys a little bit more so I can better understand your specific needs, your specific questions, and I can better assist you just completely for free if you're able to join in. If you're not able to join in, go to my YouTube page. That's where all of these videos are going to be hosted after they're recorded. If you're joining in on Instagram for the very first time, all these videos are also live streamed on Facebook and YouTube, so go check out everything on YouTube. But yeah, I'm trying to stay away from like trying to condense all of my knowledge into a 3-second video, because that's not going to help out anyone. Kevin, full transparency as far as how much my program is, this is where, like, as you can imagine, dude, like freshmen are going to need different things than seniors, right? So like how much different are all these different players? This player has this much development already taken care of. This player has that much. This player is just getting started. This player is like the best player ever, and he has all these things working for him. This player is like this, right? So like all these people, even though this one's a sophomore, this one's a junior, this one's a sophomore as well, they all are starting at different points and need different levels of support. And that's basically what the program is all about. And that's what, most importantly, the Zoom call is all about. To see like, okay, you're a sophomore. Let's say this is a sophomore. Let's do a different color. So let's say right here, you're a sophomore, 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 right? Which one are you? I don't know, Kevin. Like, honestly, it sounds like you're in North Carolina. I'm in North Carolina. That's cool. But like, I really don't know you, right? And I hope that doesn't like make you upset or frustrated or whatever. I know that you hung out and watched a Durham Bulls game when I guess I went off because there was one game in Durham. I think no, there's a two game stretch that I hit 2 home runs in Durham. But no, I always hit well in Durham. But like, don't take this the wrong way, Kevin, but like, I don't know you. I don't know how much assistance you need. I don't know how much assistance you're going to require from us to be able to get you to where you want to go. Typically, like, dude, sophomores is a great place to start as far as it's typically the people that I like to work with the most, because this is where we can really shift the transition between like your physical development, your work ethic, your recruiting, because August 1st is like, what, 6 months away? It's not that far. And what we need to do as far as recruiting before, pre-August 1st, that's going to give us plenty of time. This is like a pretty good time to start with, a program. And by the way, Kevin, I'm not sure. So when you mentioned Jenkins, did you do his program? Is that something that you maybe like are doing currently? Are you looking for more assistance on the recruiting side? Like, these are all things that we need to unpack on that Zoom call. So like, I can't, and just like I stand for here on these lives, I'm not here to give you guys vanilla answers, and that is the truth. Like, I don't know you, Kevin. I wish I did. You sound like a pretty cool guy, but at the end of the day, like, I want to customize everything for you in your specific situation, make sure that your assistance is actually needed, or our assistance is actually needed to where you want to go. Because like, the way that I view it is like a bridge, right? We have this over here and this over here, right? And to be able to get with your current, maybe it's your current arm velo or exit velocity or 60 time, right? I look at his videos, we help fix my swing, but I just need his workout. So like, that's where like on the physical side, that's going to help you. As far as with where you're currently at on the recruiting side, I know Jenk a little bit. Like, I don't think necessarily on the recruiting side there's much other than that he like just posts on social media, maybe on for you. But this is where like your goals are, right? So let's just say your arm velo is 80 right now and your goals are 90. Let's say your exit velocity is 90 and you want it to be 100. Let's say your 60 time is a 7.6 and your goal is a 7.0, right? There needs to be some level of a bridge to help you get there, right? And let's say, as far as your arm velo, you already have a throwing program. For your exit velocity, you already have a lifting program. For your 60 time, you already have a sprint coach that you go see 4 times out of the week. Let's say for recruiting, you're happy with where you're at. So recruiting over here, you're happy with where you're at. You don't need that bridge. That bridge, like, basically, you've already got the things connected. And again, I need to know who you are. I'm a 5'5" second baseman. So like, yeah, I mean, from what you're telling me, 5'5", like, we work with plenty of undersized sophomores that really shift up their work ethic. And I've had students that start with me that weigh 110 pounds. And after the program, they weigh 150 pounds after 4 or 5 months. So 40 plus pounds of muscle. It's really uncommon results, but it is pretty common for players inside my academy. So one thing that I'm actually curious on, if you guys would think it's just the most boring thing in the world, I could actually pull up that video if you really want me to. Sorry, it was 30 pounds. It was 120 to 150, I believe it was. That was Carson, and I could quite literally just like show you guys that video if you guys really want. I'm Jose Altuve, and that's cool that you acknowledge that Jose Altuve has done it. He's in the big leagues. He's doing it. He knows what he's about as far as his athletic movements. He knows how to swing the ball. He knows how to throw the ball, right? Especially for his position. So like, you're acknowledging that it can be done at 5'5", which is awesome, right? Now, how are we developing our skills in the gym to be able to become the next Altuve? That's where I'll let you decide. But guys, if you have any baseball-related questions, just like Kevin's been absolutely killing it as far as staying engaged in the chat over on YouTube, just keep that up. But if you guys have any baseball-related questions whatsoever, I see a couple of parents over on Instagram. We're on Facebook as well, and also on YouTube. But if you guys have any specific questions, feel free to let me know. What I was about to say is, like, I don't know if you guys would think it's completely boring, but I can share like literally that story of a family or a player that gained that weight, basically. And if that, like, right now, Kevin, just because you're like super engaging with me, like, that's awesome. We got, sorry, just missed. Where are you from? We're in New Jersey. Some played club, and I'm working out and also taking lessons right now for batting and hitting. Those should be the same thing. What else does he need to do to develop himself? Well, typically, like in the gym, to address your first question though. So I'm in North Carolina, but our academy is 100% remote. So we have 2 students in Japan, which I think is really cool. We have 1 student in Hawaii. We got 2 in Canada, 1 in Mexico, and then of course all across the United States. But yeah, we're 100% remote. I'm in North Carolina though. We have a couple students in New Jersey as well, in the Northeast as well, batting and pitching. So like, if you guys are doing stuff on the skill development, this is you'll really like this. Sorry, what was your name? Your Mama Jax, Mama Lee. So player development is something that isn't talked about enough until you get to the stage of pro baseball. And this is something that I learned throughout my time with the St. Louis Cardinals and also with the San Diego Padres. So player development is this umbrella, okay? So this is PD, player development, right? And the Cardinals have a player development department. They have the Cardinals, the Padres, all teams have a player development department. That's a mouthful. Anyway, inside this umbrella, there's a couple of little areas for, again, player development. So over here, what you're telling me, Mama Lee, is you guys are focusing a lot on the skill development. So underneath the skill department right here, we can make this look really pretty also. All right, so skill development. So this is going to be basically pitching lessons. This is going to be hitting, and this is going to be fielding. Because if we really think about, like, it sounds like a stupid question, but what is baseball, right? It's how well we throw the ball, right? I think we can all agree throwing is part of the game. It's how well we hit the ball, right? We can all agree hitting is part of the game. And it's how well we can field the ball. That is baseball. These 3 things are basically the skill side of things. And technically, like, yes, the athleticism of running, that is, in my opinion, a little bit more on, on the physical development. So the physical development now, what's underneath the physical development? Well, this is how you can get, like, basically bigger, stronger, faster, right? So big, strong, fast. Right, so this is basically, in a nutshell, how to become the best athlete. So this is, in my opinion, from what you're telling me, this is an area that we're neglecting. But hold on, because we're not done. So that's the physical development. Now, there's also the mental development. And underneath the mental development are things like your baseball IQ. Is Jax working on his baseball IQ? Is he working on frameworks to overcome struggles, right? Because when, Jax might hit a slump, what kind of baseball player is he? Is he able to overcome those challenges? That's what really the mental side is going to be all taken care of, right? But we're not done, all right? So next up, we got what I'll just kind of put as diet, just because it's a smaller word than nutrition. So under diet, it's the nutrition. We got supplements, it's hydration. It's basically what we put into our body to make sure that what we do in the physical and any type of skill work, we're maximizing it to the best of our ability. So again, like Mama Lee, Mama Jax, that is an area that, like, maybe your son's dabbling with it. Is he tracking anything as far as proteins? Is he on any level of structure on that department? Possibly not. Now, in my opinion, the last one that not every single team does, or I don't have enough real confidence to say that every team does or doesn't, just because I only played on 2 teams. The Padres didn't necessarily show a great enforcement of, like, the leadership department, but the Cardinals did. So basically over here is leadership. So leadership right there. For the Cardinals, it was a thing called Cardinal Core. And Cardinal Core is basically, it was a group of about 7, 8 guys that were leaders of the team that just recently got drafted, and they wanted to instill like just certain leadership qualities as far as who you are as a person, as a player inside the clubhouse, because those things matter a ton. This was also, we got to spend some time with Navy SEALs, which was pretty cool in my opinion. Like these ex-Navy SEALs, they definitely help you put a perspective on what's going on in their world, and then also what's happening in our world, and how baseball is really just not really that important if you really think about it. So yeah, with Mama Lee, with what you've got going on right now for Jax, it sounds like you've got like this and this somewhat taken care of, but does your son have the leadership to be able to do these things himself and take the initiative to do that work by himself? And this is an area where I think a lot of high school baseball players don't realize the work that they need to take on their own and be able to take that leadership or really take that ownership of their own journey and take the bull by the horns, right? Grab the bull by the horns. So there are these areas right here as far as anything that involves a ball. That's basically what skill development is. And the reason I know that is because all the strength and conditioning coaches with the Cardinals and Padres, they told us the gym work, basically we can do anything that doesn't require a baseball, doesn't require a ball. Because once it requires a ball, it's a skill work, right? It's not physical work. So the physical development is an area that honestly, I think all high school baseball players until their freshman year of college, I think they need to be focusing on the physical work probably 70% of the time, and then the skill work 30% of the time, in my opinion. Because I think if we're physically strong, it's going to take care of our skill work, and that's the way that I would be focusing about it. So like, Mama Lee, you're focused on the pitching and hitting, which is pretty common for your typical, like, I played travel ball since 8U, and I'm in the play mode, and I want to do the things that I do as far as playing, which is hitting the ball, fielding the ball, and pitching the ball or throwing the ball, right? And that's where, like, once you graduate to higher levels, this doesn't matter as much, and your physicality is going to matter a lot more. And that's where typically in high school you start to see those guys that took care of the physicality a little bit more in the gym getting bigger, stronger, and faster. Whereas maybe, Kevin mentioned he's 5'5", right? I mean, I do deadlifts for power and bench. Like, that sounds like a little bit more of a generic, not necessarily super baseball specific program. And that's where we want to incorporate rotational strength, explosiveness. And these are all things that our New York Mets strength coach actually writes into the program because he has a whole degree in like kinesiology and stuff like that. So we want to make it as simple as possible for you guys to actually learn and grow. And this, let me know, Mama Lee, Kevin, anybody that's actually joining in, does this make sense as far as what I just described as far as, again, player development? Does that make sense? Can I get some feedback? Is there anybody out there that likes what I just drew out for you guys? Do you guys hate my handwriting? Like, what's going on? I want to make sure that this is actually something that's valuable to you guys. And okay, cool, Kevin. Love that. Love that. But yeah, Kevin, by the way, if you're interested in like working with me, tell your parents obviously about the live and how you hung out with me. By the way, once this live concludes, which will be in about 7-8 minutes, it's going to be uploaded to YouTube, so you can share this exact live. By the way, I need to change the episode number, I think. Yeah, I still have episode 19. Today's episode 20. So yeah, Kevin, share episode 20 with your parents and be like, yeah, Mom, Dad, I was talking to this guy. But no, yeah, check out my website. It's Mendozabaseballacademy.com. I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out and whatnot. Agreed. He is doing strength and conditioning right now too. So like, that's all great. I don't know, again, like Kevin's situation as well, Mama Lee, I don't know exactly how baseball specific it is, or if it's on like a structured program, or if it's just what the high school team is doing. What I find most common when I speak to families, especially on eligibility reviews, and especially like on these Zoom calls that, is part of the process as far as getting joined into my academy. These eligibility reviews, parents will typically tell me that their son is doing what the high school program is doing as far as lifts. And typically that's during a class, maybe that's in his second period or whatever. Or it's after school with football coach. And then my immediate response is, okay, you're doing stuff with the team or in a class environment. Those are all great things. But what are we doing on our own? Because that is going to be a lot more important, in my opinion, than doing something for freshman or sophomore high school baseball player or high schoolers. Usually when you're doing stuff in a class, you're going to be doing the most basic movements ever known to man. Your bench press, your squat, your deadlift. Maybe they'll teach like a clean or a clean and snatch for whatever reason, these like Olympic style moves. Guys, you don't need to be doing that if you are a baseball player. So if you're doing like a weightlifting class in high school and you think that that's enough, I can almost promise you it's not, because I was shell-shocked when I got to college at NC State and I was doing some of these movements I'd never done before. And I thought I could figure everything out as a high school baseball player, and clearly I was wrong because I didn't understand what baseball-specific movements even were. Now, if you're doing everything after with a football coach, this is where, again, like football coaches will typically have a football mindset of like, hey, I know what football players do, I know what football players need, so I'm just going to have everyone do what football players do, which is typically the most basic lifts as well, as far as your bench, your squat, and your deadlift, right? It's not multi-plane movements, and multi-plane movements ultimately create athleticism. And that's exactly why we instill rotational strength into our workout programs, to instill that athletic movement. After school at the baseball facility, there's a gym also. So yeah, that's a great environment for him to get that work done. Again, it all comes down, again, so many times I have this question, but really this conversation with families. Okay, it's your career. What are we doing on our own in the shadows? That's the thing. And by the way, when I mean shadows, I mean look to your left and right. And for example, Mama Lee, if Jax doesn't see a human being when he looks to his left and right, that's the shadows. So if he's after school at the baseball facility, he looks to his left and right and he sees other people, I'm not saying it's the wrong environment to be in, but like, what environments does he find himself when he looks to his left and right and he doesn't see a single person? Does he ever hit by himself when he's looking to his left and right on hours? Does he take ground balls when he looks to his left and right, doesn't see anyone? Does he go to the gym by himself when he looks to his left and right, doesn't see anyone? Because ultimately, when he puts himself in situations like that, he takes that ownership of his career. It is his career. It's not your career, Mama Lee. It's not my career. It's not Kevin's career. But Kevin, it is your career for you. It's not your career for Jax, if that makes sense. I have to run with weights behind with me. Did you do that? I don't know what it's called. So if you're running with weights behind you, that's actually going to develop more strength. And this is important, guys. Strength does not equal speed. That is a very important concept, right? Because I could have the biggest muscles and I could look really, really strong. And this is from personal experience. I went to a workout facility as a professional athlete, and I went to get strong. And I didn't realize that that's not what I needed. What I wanted to really do, as far as my game, I needed to get more explosive and more quick twitch, especially for baseball movements. So if you're trying to get stronger as far as your strides, that is a way to do it. But when you're doing weighted sleds, basically, and weighted sprints, or sled sprints, or whatever you want to call it, it's not going to incorporate this, or it is going to incorporate the strength. It's not going to incorporate the speed. If anything, it's going to actually focus more on your slow twitch muscles, which you don't ever really want to focus on. You want to be always focusing on those quick twitch muscles. Because think about how quickly your feet are moving if there's a weight attached behind you. Is it going to be faster or slower? I'm going to give you a hint. It's slower, right? So we always want to train in a quicker department rather than a slower department. But if you're doing that for speed and agility purposes, I do have a free sprinting program, guys, by the way, on my website. Go check that out. Also, if you're on YouTube, go check out down below the second link. There's going to be 7 steps on how to reach out to college coaches the right way. Kevin, go ahead and download that, by the way, because what we'll do is basically I'll text you. The first message will be automated. The rest will be from either myself or a team. And that way you can have a quick little conversation. You can say that you were in the live, whatnot. I'll see that message, but then I'll send you over the video basically at the end of the conversation, and then you can share that over with your parents and whatnot if that's something that you're interested in. But yeah, I have a sprinting program on my website completely for free. I have a lifting program, guys. I have the 7 steps on how to reach out to college coaches down below on the YouTube description. But yeah, guys, if you want to keep joining in to these lives, just because we're running out of time, we got about 2 more minutes. I do these lives every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Tomorrow is Friday, so no different right there. Like Barry Bonds, he's strong, not fast. So I disagree. So like Barry Bonds, in my opinion, he is strong, but he's also fast, which is why he's one of the best in the world. So that's where there's the training philosophy. Especially, I'll give you guys a quick little golden nugget as we're departing. So as far as like my throwing program, it's called the overweight, underweight. That's a U. Underweight. Now, when we're doing things, he also eats steroids. So if we're talking about overweight training, we're not, and this is for throwing program, we're not throwing a 16-ounce baseball. We're not doing that, right? For overweight, we just need like 1 ounce heavier. For underweight, we just need 1 ounce lighter. It's not like we're throwing a 1 ounce ball. We're actually going to be throwing like ideally like a 4 ounce ball. And over here for overweight, we're going to be doing a 6 ounce ball. What's going on? 6 ounce, right? So plus 1 ounce, and over here minus 1. And overweight, underweight, 1 builds strength, 1 builds speed. So hopefully that answers your question. You got to lift. All right, Kevin, we'll take care. Guys, this was super enjoyable. I'm going to do a quick little recap. It's going to be a longer recap, but it's going to be worth it. So that way I can give you guys a little bit of short form if you guys did not get a chance to make it. All right, let's start here, and then we'll go one by one as we record a little short form video, guys. I appreciate you guys joining in. Don't mind me. I'm just going to do a quick little short form recording. But yeah, feel free to DM me on Instagram if you guys are joining in for the first time. DM me the word college. I can send you over a quick little resource. But let's get this show on the road. All right, recap of day 20 of 50, streaming every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So we talked about an individual who is 6'5", who is overlooked, but we were really neglecting his 60-yard dash time. He was more of like that 5 o'clock hitter who had good batting practice, but had a hard time translating that over to the game. Next, we talked about basically, again, shooting for the stars rather than shooting for D3, because that's never going to help you if you, fall on the clouds. Ideally, we also talked about the general thing of just saying, hey, my son's fast. Well, that's really relative to who you are and what you're all about. We also talked about the 60-yard dash, how it's not necessarily the most effective way to see that athleticism. I prefer the 5-10-5 because that focuses on that lateral quickness. But one thing we also talked about are these databases that just give you a ton of emails, but don't necessarily give you that actionable guidance on how to go about the college recruiting process. What I refer to as actionable guidance is step 1, step 2, and not overwhelming the athlete. We also talked about pop time and how a specific player has a decent pop time, can still throw out players if their pitcher is slow. One thing I also like to repeat constantly, guys, is I'm not here to brain rot you. I'm here to teach you, so I'm not trying to condense my 7-year pro career into a 3-second brain rotted reel. We talked about Kevin, basically a sophomore year, asking about my program. Every player comes to me at a different stage, so that's what that Zoom call is really all about. We talked about how one player, even though he came to me at around 120 pounds, he was able to gain a good 30 pounds of pure muscle. And we also, again, talked about the player development umbrella. This is something that's really important. With the Cardinals and Padres, we had a player development department on skill work, physical development, the mental game, the diet and nutrition, and the leadership, and these are all very important aspects. We also talked about high school lifts, and if they're in class or maybe after school with a football coach, you need to be focusing on doing stuff in the shadows on your own time. We also talked about how strength does not equal speed, and those are huge mistakes and everything. And we also lastly, a little bit of a bonus tip, a golden nugget for you guys. Guys, overweight, underweight training can help you build that strength, but also build that speed. See you on the next one. Let's go. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up today's Coffee and Baseball, guys. If you want to join into the next Coffee and Baseball, guys, all you have to do is subscribe to me over on YouTube. That's where all of these are going to be recorded, by the way. So if you guys ever wanted to go back to any of these, watch them with your son, feel free to do that. And if you guys are interested in scheduling out an eligibility review, you can go ahead and do that at MendozaBaseballAcademy.com. Take care, guys.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
Mendoza giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, dos joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a great
Grounded up the
play.
middle is Mendoza, throws off the shortstop. Mendoza field spins, throws.
Mendoza throw to first in time. Wow, what a play by Evan Mendoza. Mendoza to second for one. Oh my word, you've got to be kidding.
Evan Mendoza.
For Mendoza.
Mendoza lifts one to left.
An inning.
Mendoza, that one's sailing back there, and it's gone.
Now, those are some of the plays and the insights of playing baseball at the highest level, not just posting about it. Now, let's flip the script. Here's what my students and families have to say about working with me.
Just share his stories of the kids asking him, what did you do? And his one answer was one word. Evan.
It's an overall great program to improve your metrics, mental approach, your velocity, and your outreaching strategies. Because there's a ton of players I know that are way better than me that had zero offers because they don't know how to reach out to coaches.
Pretty much every possible number when I've gone up. I was high 70s and now I'm aiming for mid to high 80s and hitting the same thing. I was high 80s off machine and now I'm able to put some balls out in the mid 90s.
JT's motivation to want to do it at home, be proactive in his baseball career, and we are able to do these things for him, and it's self-motivated and he's taken that action. As a parent, you want to be able to say yes to something like that.
It's been making me feel much more confident. Like now going into the season, I feel I have all the ability I need and I can just play and trust that all the work I did will pay off.
Started working out, I was about 120, 115, about 160 now. I trusted it and it worked. If you want to go get it, it's not going to come to you.
My EV was about 75 and my body weight was around 155, around that. Since I joined that, I'm up to almost 180 now and I'm hitting 80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing or is this the right thing? So you could kind of see the stress level decrease a little bit, and then that energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing. Like a game changer.
Through your program, I just realized how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course of 4 or 5 months.